seeing also on live.
It's working.
Okay. So maybe I start again, if it wasn't on live already. So welcome everyone. My name is Martina Tevets and I'm the founder of Das Haus. The project was founded last year to connect and support creatives of all creative areas, mainly through online creative community and also creative labs like this one. This is the second lab that we have currently and like throughout our small history of the project. So in this lab we have 8 participants of different creative areas. So I'm going to present each one of them. We have Nefeli and Laurence. Both work mainly in performance. Then we have Sezen that also works with in performance, and Marco that is not here yet, but he works mainly in design. Gabrielle, she couldn't be here today, but she works mainly also with performance. João, that's here, develops his work in sound, and Gurkan, he's here also. He works with sound, and Júlia, also here with painting and drawing. So yeah, to start, maybe I think I didn't say, but this talk started with a challenge 1 month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. I think it was 1 month and a half, maybe. I asked all participants to make a collaboration with each other. So with 8 participants, we come up with 4 projects, and the challenge was to do a collaborative project, and a bit outside the box. So something they would develop that wasn't the medium or the concept they had developed so far. So it was really a challenge to everyone, and we actually had very good like 4 projects, very diverse, but also very creatively very strong. So yeah, so the next challenge was to have this public talk, also to talk about the project. So I think everyone is ready. We can maybe start with Nefeli and Laurence. I will ask you guys to talk just briefly about what's the project about. I already know, but to viewers to see, and to talk about a bit of the project, and also show us, if possible, something about the project.
Okay, hello, my name is Nefeli. We started the project that we call Shall We Talk, and trying to figure out to reach an idea that could be out of our comfort zone. We ended up to explore the medium of writing, and this led us to conversations. So the starting idea was how to somehow decode conversations, writing into an audio sound. And then we realized that we had to create materials to work with. So we decided to make some conversation on WhatsApp in between us to create materials. And then have these materials so we can work and experiment how we can make them sound or audio in other mediums. Yes, we had a specific challenge task to ourselves. Which, Lawrence, would you like to share?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm Lawrence. So we were collaborating together, and out of all the collaborations, we are both primarily performing artists. So the biggest part of the challenge for us was to not do the things that we know how to do. And so we decided to have a series of conversations exploring this idea of how we communicate. And then through those conversations, we then used the different conversations that we were having. Some of them were verbal, some of them were using photos. And then we manipulated that original source material into a different medium. So either turning text into music or creating audio, speech in response to photos was kind of the journey that we went on, deliberately trying to not work as performers and to explore what we could do. That was very much the nature of this collaboration, was to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone. But I think for us, particularly being both in a sort of similar discipline, it did definitely, we felt like we needed to put some constraints and some rules in place for ourselves as well about the stuff that we generated. So yeah, I think, should we share a bit of the media that we created? So we had 7 conversations. We had 1 conversation a day for 7 days. And then we've got 5 of the 7 share little excerpts of what we did with a bit of context.
Yes. And we would like to share now like samples of our experiments. So the first one we will try to share is the one-word conversation. So the rule was to have a conversation only with one word. And what we tried later with that is to make it a sound through an application. And also it became an audio due because of the application. I will share my screen. So can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Ah. Okay, now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the first.
I think we're getting your mic audio and not the computer audio, maybe.
Ah, okay. I don't know how this can be fixed. Okay, wait. And I can share also this. This was, I don't know how can you hear it now. Only the audio.
Yeah, we can hear now. But we are not seeing the screen.
No. Okay, this was the first experiment.
I'm going to share something from our second experiment, which was we worked with, we sent each other images. So our conversation for the day was only sending each other photos. And then we each sent recordings of ourselves describing the other person's photograph and trying to imagine. So I'm going to share an image and a photo. If I do screen sharing, hopefully it'll switch the audio as well. And let me just see if you're getting computer audio. Can you hear what's playing?
No, and maybe it's on my computer, but I'm not seeing your screen.
Ah, you're not seeing my screen. Can try it again. Can you see it now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. Hello, Double Martina. Can you hear this audio?
No, maybe you have to take the headphones if you are with headphones.
It might not be great because you might just hear it back through the mic rather than hearing it through the computer. But so this is the audio with the image. Let me find the image.
Must be morning. You must have waken up and having a good breakfast. And try to stay healthy.
Really low. So, and then did the other way. Okay, and now she's inside a flat. I'm really interested in this fiber optic light thing, but it's not switched on yet, but it'll be really fun to touch. I'm not sure who these three portraits are of on the wall. There's three men and a book, but I can't see the title, and a lot of furniture. Cool. Maybe is that a piano stool? Yeah, so we did that several times with each of our images. Cool. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
to hear that.
And then one of the days we decide we have a conversation with ministers from our countries. We are from different countries to exchange like quotes. So, and then after we exchanged them, we decided to record our voices speaking the quotes of the ministers. So we have an audio file, a sound file with this conversation, which I can share only the audio. So it's just about, I hope you hear again.
In the last few weeks, it has been hard to stop thinking about the impact of coronavirus.
July and August are not considered to be any problem.
We'll wait. End of story. Avoid busy areas, stay alert, behind closed doors. If you're out shopping today, please buy a paper.
It's true indeed. Culture was pretty developed in the last season. The last month was going extremely well. The truth is that at this moment we are in a standby position. We cannot program and calculate the total amount of cost of this adventure that we are living in. The certain is that everybody are getting ready for the next day. Yes, so and it goes on. It's a record sound audio that goes on with a conversation, and then the other day.
Cool. And then, so our next day of conversations was we communicated only through emojis. And then I put so each emoji has a specific name. There will be smiley face with one eye closed or whatever. So for visually impaired users and people like that, if you're using text to speech, it will also read out the emojis. So I made some text to speech synthesizers, one voice for each of us, and used the emojis as the material for that. So I'm going to show you the emoji conversation and let you hear it at the same time. I think I need to disconnect my mic. So screen share. So our emoji conversation looked like this. only talking in emojis, and it sounded like this.
Sun with face, waving hand. Person running male sign, baby.
People with bunny ears with light skin tone female sign. Monkey.
Person shrugging female sign, new moon face.
Full moon waning gibbous moon last quarter moon. Flag. Greece sun person swimming with dark skin tone female sign.
Sun with face, loudly crying face. Smiling face with sunglasses, thumbs up.
Flag. Liberia people wrestling male sign pouting face with steam from nose, face with steam from nose.
Tired face, red heart, person swimming goggles. United States black flag, Liberia flag, Malaysia. Flag, Antarctica peace symbol dove.
Flag. Antarctica thinking face.
Cold face, screaming in fear prohibited people wrestling male sign, female sign. Person shrugging female sign.
Face with steam from nose ceiling.
Palm tree crossed fingers.
Face vomiting.
Teacup without handle. Globe showing America's globe showing Europe, Africa globe showing Asia, Australia globe with meridians. Face with symbols on mouth, pouting face with symbols on mouth.
Steaming bowl tumbler glass.
Clinking beer mugs, peanuts. Face savoring food.
Hugging face person biking.
Hot face woman dancing, man dancing.
Face savoring food.
Cool. Yeah, so that's what that sounded like. And then maybe one more.
And then we would like to share the last, like another day, the fifth experiment, which was we tried to have a conversation in WhatsApp with letters without using at all the letter A. So this was the challenge. And then we used an application to make it into music, another application than the one before. And it came out a 6-minute long music piece, but okay, we will hear just a bit. So it's not, I hope you hear it. Yes. So these were some of the results from what we came up with in these experiments. And then I think we had a lot of conversation about what is interesting for us, what was interesting in these experiments, what changed from the beginning, how we think on it. One of the things that came up for us was like this conversation on itself. What does it mean, conversation? What means the medium and how it impacts on the conversation? And what is happening, because the conversation is when we talk, what is happening when it goes writing? And yes, also other mediums like photographs or images, doing a conversation with those mediums, how can also they alter the perception of the conversation? I know.
Can I make you some questions to both?
Yeah.
Because I think we've talked a lot as well, and we have a lot of reflections about the process and what we would do moving forward. So it'd be really interesting to hear your response, because I think we haven't shared very much of this with anyone yet either.
No. You were actually, it's very interesting because both of you were very concerned about to discover also not only in the collaboration, but also what you like to work with, or what themes to work with, what is the importance of the talk. So you both try to discover more about each other and also about yourself in a way, and that's super interesting. And just for like curiosity, I would like to know which phases of your work did you enjoy more?
That's really interesting, because this we spoke about as well. Some of the challenges definitely being more exciting or more frustrating than others. There was something I found very entertaining about communicating only using emojis, but also we had this conversation about universal language and being able to understand things, and I don't think emojis are the way of doing that, probably on their own. But communicating, just sending photos, I really enjoyed, because it really created a snapshot. And also because of the way we were engaging with them, I think we looked at photos and really analyzed them more than like if you see on an Instagram story, maybe where you engage with each second for each image for 4 or 5 seconds. This was like, oh, I'm going to spend a minute looking at all of the details in this photo and trying to guess what you're doing with your life. And there's something really cool about that.
I enjoyed also the photos and the description of the photos, and how do you alter from a visual to a linguistic medium. That was interesting for me to do, actually. And also, I think I enjoyed the experimenting, because this thing with the conversation came like when we decided to have material. So we said, okay, let's do conversation. But somehow for me it was interesting to discover through this, okay, let's do it, like a bit more, I don't know how to say it now in English, that to open up in different notions and concepts that till now I was maybe not interested somehow. Yeah.
Thank you both. I also have another question about the emoji. I was wondering if the app that you use to process the sound, it was like the app was reading in a way that when Laurence would text Nefeli, he would have like a male voice, and also when Nefeli talked with Laurence, he would be like a female voice.
So that was a bit of a cheat. I put all of my emoji text in and used George, I think he's called. There are about 25 different voices. And then I put all Nefeli's text in and used Susie, or whatever she was called. And then I, with my high-tech sound engineering skills, spliced them together in GarageBand and made it like a conversation. But yeah, it was really interesting how the robot voices really changed the character. I played around for a while finding ones that sounded nice as robot voices can sound.
That's interesting. I was thinking that the app should be very intelligent. So
no, I had to like copy and extract all of the text from it. But it's really interesting how they all have a very specific description that a lot of them it doesn't. I think what we recognize the emojis as signifying isn't really what some of them are supposed to mean, which is quite interesting.
And also another question, the final question. It's about something that you tried on this collaboration. Do you want to pursue in other projects, like the experimental side? It awakened something in you in a way, in a medium. Could be with sound, could be with this technology aspect. Did something wake you up in a way?
Yeah, I don't know. We had several kind of brainstormings with what all this can be used or can be developed afterwards, or how can we continue. I think we both somehow said that to develop something, for sure the next step could be to focus more on something that is interesting for each one and go a little bit deeper. Also, I think both of us, I don't know, Laurence, you can add or say no, were interested in this photo description audio thing. And we were imagining how this audio description can be given to somebody and ask to make a new photo, and how this can create a chain of materials to be generated, and what can we do with that, if that can become an exhibition with people, or a live streaming exhibition that people can match the photos and the descriptions, and how can this change the narratives. And yeah.
Yeah, just to add to that, yeah, because we talked about as well this idea with the images and creating narratives with a series of images, but then potentially making some sort of interactive work where an audience could rearrange photos to create their own narratives or change the narratives. And I think both of us, we were talking earlier and about the idea of presenting something as artists without being present with the audience, because for both of us the work we make is normally like an interaction in some way between us as performers and the audience, and it's something that definitely is something I'm starting to really think about. Yeah, what happens if I make more work that is physical and plastic and not presential for me as an artist, and how that changes the interaction with the audience and the spectator. Yeah, there's definitely some interesting thoughts about how to generate material as well, using robots.
Thank you both. I think it's also important to refer, I think I didn't say before, that we are on different countries, and also, or some of us in the same country, but in different cities. So all the collaborations were done via technology. So discovering these sides of what we want to achieve, or what we want to explore, but not being in contact, like we would normally be, like in person with our collaborator. It's like it's a different way of recent what we can do. So it's very important that we also explore these things, and also be open. And I think in your project, all of you were very open to explore different things, and that's a big yes, very cool. So thank you both, Nefeli and Laurence. Maybe we go now to Sezen. Yeah, claps to all of them. Now we go to Sezen, and Marco is not here. But do you want to present now, or maybe we go to another group and then we wait a bit more to?
I can continue. Yeah, because Marco couldn't make it. I don't really have something concrete to show, as you know, but I would like to maybe share the idea that we were like talking with Maruf and show you some references from our board of images that we were sharing together.
Yes, your project is also very good in terms of research and concept that you guys developed. So yeah, talk just a bit briefly about the concept of the project, and you can share them. Thank you.
So the idea started with the situation we are living globally, with the social distancing and how we behave in the public space. The idea, was to create apparatus, or like some kind of a costume, you can say, to keep that so-called 1.5 meters distance and really have this awareness. So I work in the areas of more like contemporary dance performance, and I do also performances in unconventional spaces like galleries and museums. So this was to me first, like you invited us to this challenge of going out of our comfort zone and also collaborating with another area in the art. My first idea was more like having this costume and like being present in a public space as a performative action, and maybe document this. And with the involvement of Marco, we talking about how can we like develop this idea better. We started doing research. Maybe I'll share this board we have here. We both had this image of the Haus ballet. I don't know if anyone is familiar with this. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, we see.
Yeah. So we collected all these images that kind of suggests a kind of apparatus around the human body. We encountered a lot of stuff from fashion, also from visual arts, like wearable sculptures, and that kind of represents a certain isolation to the body, not only distance, but also like when they have the head inside. And then we started to find more like other kind of sculptures with more casual objects, like, I'm trying to find them, like there's this hula hoop, for example, here, or those big cardboards that also could be used. Then we found those kind of more, daily pictures coming out in the media, that people already kind of finding their own apparatus to keep the distance in the public spaces. You see the guy in the supermarket here, or this guy who kind of, constructed this big cylinder around him. And then we had the idea of like kind of, maybe that's it, but to show you the Bauhaus aesthetics, maybe that kind of we both thought it's interesting to think about different kind of types of apparatus that could be imagined by anyone. And then we thought of like creating a menu, and for people to be able to build their own, maybe kind of find the basic structure and the materials that they can find easily, or things to do, things not to do, like a simple manual of building maybe a furniture, something like that, but like to build their own with a couple of maybe examples that they can use. but to give the total freedom for them to be able to design as they want it to be. So this is like the first step that we thought, like having imagine like a A3 manual with explaining what it is for, and also leaving a blank part where they can design their own. And we would share this as maybe a second stage in a workshop, maybe can be in a dance studio, it can be in a gallery with limited people, and we will provide the materials, imagine, and then they would design their own on paper, and we would do this together, helping them out to build something that they can wear and move. And the last part of the workshop would be that we kind of lead movement awareness workshop with some choreographic tools to figure out how we move in space with people. And the last part would be the collection of all these designs that the participants of the workshop that gave away also to us for us to collect those. Yeah, ideally the project like it is at the stage of imagining how it would be. We don't have something concrete to show you at the moment, but yeah, it's a more like a reflection of the actual situation going on, and also maybe we were talking more about the more cultural aspects of like personal space, also how it is perceived in different cultures, how is our behavior or perception of our bodies in movement, in crowds, etc. And yeah, it's more of a reflection of how this is going to now maybe change our behavior, and maybe also with this work we want to bring a bit more awareness to all these questions, I think, more or less is, yeah.
Can I make some questions?
Sure.
Now? Cool. What part of the concept, developing the not only the concept but also these three phases that you guys want to do, what part of this project did you enjoy the most? And yeah, for now, what part was more enjoyable for you to develop?
I think thinking of a kind of a format of more participatory project is, in terms of potential, excites me a bit, which we didn't actually realize this yet. But in terms of collaboration, I'm not sure if you are also asking in that line. It's interesting, of course, to meet with someone who comes from a different discipline. It's like design. There are also kind of challenges of coming to a common ground in terms of understanding each other, what we mean when we use certain words, and also the practice is very different. But it was interesting to find this common ground, and seeing that we agree on certain formats to continue with the project. I think that was interesting.
I think also that it's super interesting the concern that you have not only to the technical part of the project, what the audience could build, what type of materials they could use, what type of space they could be in, because nowadays we have a lot of these restrictions, but it's also very like in a kind way to see that you guys were very concerned about the audience in terms of the possibility for them to explore themselves also in the space, and also with their body, the movement, the materials, and also give this possibility by giving this possibility to the people to participate. And that's also very cool, very very kind, in a way that it's also good for the audience to interact with the artists, and I think that's one of the strongest aspects. You have many, all of you have different strong, very strong points in your projects, and I think this side of like a participatory side of the project is very strong, and give also the space for the people to not only to interact but also to be part of the project in the third phases when you collect all the materials. Yeah, let me check if we don't have right now more questions, but yeah, if I come up with more questions I will do, because I think maybe at the end we also go back to Nefeli and Laurence as well. Thank you, Sezen. Thank you. No, I was on mute. Something happened. It's okay now. Can you hear me? Okay, good. João, are you ready to present?
Yeah, sure. I can talk a bit about the collaboration that we did. Gabrielle couldn't make it today. Hello, everybody. Well, I work in sound. I make music usually, so this was quite challenging for me to try and get out of that and not escape into drawing, which is my other passion, if you can say it like that. So we wanted to approach in a way isolation and this interplay between connectedness and disconnect that virtual gives us, confinement has given us. And well, at least for me, my experience in throughout life usually works a bit around these two poles. Because, well, when you're making something, when you're concentrated with music in your head or with thoughts, you're not really paying attention to anything that's in front of you. That happens to me sometimes. So I hope it happens to someone else too. So, okay, so I'm going to try something to share just a little bit of the piece that resulted from this. This started initially as a video by me, like a sort of a video letter to Gabrielle, who is the one who is collaborating with me, which curiously today couldn't make it. So again, we have this connectedness and absence at the same time. So I did like this video letter in which I was simply doing my daily thing of going out on the street to get a cup of coffee. I just recorded it and I wrote some words. You can see it in a bit, reflecting on being connected to something. You don't know exactly what it is, but you are. And at the same time, you're not really connected to stuff that is going on right in front of you, like the city is empty. It's interesting because Gabrielle, after watching the video, she commented, yeah, it's interesting that the city seems empty, and I wasn't really thinking about that when I went to the coffee shop. But well, let's try and watch this. We have this option here to share a YouTube video. Let's try that. Maybe that has sound, because she did a soundscape, which is pretty interesting. Also about her daily routine, starting with her getting out of bed, going to the bathrooms, eating something, talking to her roommate, her boyfriend rehearsing or playing with the double bass, her cat. Well, there's lots of elements, and she played with it. It's for me, it was pretty interesting. So I kind of went and joined my video later into the soundscape and kind of try to interlace it. Let's watch a little bit of it. Let's try. Oh.
Ver como é que...
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think it's
Yeah, okay.
interesting. Sorry, just to say that, but because now the last, I think you are still sharing, no? Like the
This
last,
is my YouTube channel.
yeah,
Sorry.
like the last,
I moved it from...
the last thing that one person that was passing by you said, it was like in Portuguese, it was something like you have to watch out to your life, something like that, right? In a way that it's also interesting that you going through your path and discovering that journey into the coffee shop. You also capture a bit of the others' lives. In a way, like it was maybe on cell phone, the other person. That's super interesting. While you're also writing about how you feel, but yeah,
far away but connected, and he was just saying, "Oh, what don't you come here for us to know about what you're doing and stuff?" And I was just writing that, so I found it funny. I found a bit of serendipitous events while editing the video and audio together. But well, the video is like 18 minutes, more than 18 minutes, because it's a full audio soundscape that Gabrielle sent me. So this is just a little snippet. But okay. But yeah, sorry, continue.
No, it was just that. Sorry for my interruption, but I just captured that moment, and I thought that it was also that synchronicity. It was also very interesting. But yeah, go on.
No, I think Gabrielle sent me like these notes about our collaboration, but really, this is she has some really deep thoughts about this, but she's describing the whole piece. So, well, she's not describing the whole piece, but she's talking about the whole part of the work that she did. And also a little bit of an introduction, because we started collaborating prior to this challenge that Martina you gave us, because I was doing some during quarantine, during confinement. I was doing some sound art exploration, like a sort of live interaction with the computer, with sound, and she decided to respond to one of those pieces. I did, I think, 4 pieces until now. She decided to respond to it with a dance video, performance art dance video that we're still in the means. We're working on it, right? But things happened for me and for her also. But yeah, the collaboration started before, our sort of connection, or distant connection started before. And since I was in quarantine, these opportunities to connect and collaborate with several people, artists, started to arise. And it's interesting. I did a collaboration with a dancer, contemporary dancer from South America a couple of weeks ago, like 1 week to the other. No meetings, no having to go anywhere, but you don't really connect directly with the person, but you connect with them through the work, and you connect directly to the work. So it's interesting. It's a strange, different way to actually do artistic research. And in this case, I think it was pretty interesting also. But anyway, Gabrielle talks a bit about her wanting to respond to the video, because this started like this was first I did the video and I sent it to her so she could I don't know, so she could see what she felt about it or what she wanted to do. This was very open, because this was new for us too. She does a lot of different things. She's truly multidisciplinary. So she does ceramics, writing, dancing, a little bit of everything. Very well at it. So I wanted her to like feel at ease to use a sort of activity that she doesn't usually do, but she would do for this to face your challenge. So yeah, and she responded with an almost 19-minute soundscape. So it was it was pretty interesting. So, like the beginning of her day at home, where you can hear the cat meowing at some point. So it's these small interactions, and she's there, but at the same time she was sound designing for the first time, so she was not exactly there. She had like aesthetic motifs also. Yeah, and then I received the response, and I was like, okay, so now how can we make these two messages, if you will, these two sort of emojis? I'm remembering Laurence and Nefeli's emojis. That was wonderful. These sort of messages, how could they correlate? How could we entertain a connection between two very different pieces? One is video, not really focused on sound, although it has it. The other one is audio with a totally different length. So I went and just did like an edit. The video is like 5 minutes or 6, and I adjusted it with cuts and effects to the audio piece. But this is a research. We're just exploring this now. We want to go into exploring color also, color and distortion of perception as vehicles to new meanings in this case. But yeah, I'll stop now.
No. I think you already referred some important points. Yeah, but what I think I'm going to ask all of you, what part did you enjoy the most? Because I think that's very important also in a collaboration, not only to explore what we are doing in a project, but also with the other person, but also what we like, and if we want to pursue that in the future or not, but mostly what we like to do. So in your side, what did you enjoy the most, João?
There were several things that I enjoyed. The first one was to actually find a way to make it work, and because this is not the usual medium that I use. I'm not so used to video. I mean, I played around a bit and did like some video edits and stuff, but always with the focus of I have music and I'm doing this for to make a sort of video art, music video, something like that, but with a specific object, not like with a collaboration with someone else. Also, with Gabrielle, we can coincidentally we have an interesting understanding of doing things in a spontaneous but not devoid of meaning way. It's kind of it's not. I don't want to say it's random because it kind of feels random, but it doesn't at the same time. So things happen, and it's interesting because with her it happened a bit during this collaboration. By joining the pieces, also things seem to click at some points, which is interesting because we did it totally distant from each other. We didn't even, I don't know, we had like 2 conversations over Jitsi about the work, and the rest was like, for me at least, it was pretty intimate work, but sort of spontaneous. Like I went one day out to the coffee shop and just took my camera, and then I decided to film myself writing a text. And it kind of worked out. It's interesting how it worked out, and I like video also. Video is pretty interesting, and playing with effects and stuff. It's a different way of approaching composition in this case. Yeah, and it was also refreshing that I wasn't the one providing the audio, but someone else.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Another question that I had was about what? Now I left and I forgot. It wasn't a question, but it was more of a reflection about why this collaboration. Because normally we meeting each one of you, I realized that normally you work by yourself. So it would, when I talked about this collaboration, was also for you guys to explore not only these outside comfort zone in a way of mediums, but also meeting other people in an environment that sometimes we just we reserve to ourselves in a way in our work environment, right? And being creatives, normally we have this type of it's totally normal that we develop. We have our concepts, we want to develop our way, we want to do certain things that we already had dates to do, everything we schedule, we prepare, and having this space to be open and having a dialogue with other person and and explore not only mediums but also collaborations, and being also not prepared for what might happen. It's also very interesting in a way that we normally prepare everything, but it's also good when we don't prepare but something good comes out of it. And I think in all these collaborations we have all projects with something that you guys developed, like it, or maybe you didn't like some parts, but you try it, you made it, all of you made a project, and also that's very important that you guys also should think about it, because you have that strain to collaborate in person or with distance, and with more frequent dialogue or not. You have that capacity to develop things, and yeah, that's something that I think you all needed to think about it also, that capacity. So thank you so much, João. Now I think we go to Gurkan and Júlia. Are you guys ready? The last project. And very
Yes,
good also,
we
very
are.
artistic.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Julia, you can start first and explain your part, and then, after that I can explain my part and then show the project.
Okay, no problem. It's really cool to be here talking about creativity and collaborative works, artworks. I don't know if you hear me well. Do you hear me well? Okay. I really appreciate creative process. I am a painter, and I've recently started working as a performer artist as well. But as you were talking right now, I am really more used to working alone, like as a painter, and I have these dialogues inside of me, or maybe with other artists, but not in the point of the creative process. And the authorship is something that was really interesting to do, especially because we are living in different countries right now. I am Brazilian, and I live now in Portugal, and Gurkan is in United States. It's like completely different time zones as well, and cultures, and and we had like really small contact just here in the group, but we started talking in a really spontaneous way, and we kind of followed those places of enthusiasm. I think we were like talking, and one sentence Gurkan said was one shining thing. We were talking about the situation of the corona, that we are inside our homes, and you were talking we are inside our homes as humans, and the animals are outside there, and they're even occupying places that usually would be overcrowded by many people, and right now it's completely nobody there, just the animals. And that was something that to me really sparked, because I am really interested in this connection with nature. I even find it weird to talk about connection with nature, because I understand that we are nature. Like, and everything that is on earth is nature. Like, and I was talking about it with him, like, oh, I have this comprehension about life and about nature, and we would, like, maybe we could go this way, and following the enthusiasm. And one thing that I really liked as well is that Gurkan is a teacher. He has like a really structured way of creating, and we have this drive, this Google Drive, where we would put our references, images, researches, and it was a really, really easy way and interesting way to know each other. And sometimes we would even write at the same time. It was interesting, this dialogue in a creative way, but at the same time with a really focus of like doing something in the end, because that was the proposal that Martina gave us, like create something, and that we just knew that we had to create something. And in the beginning of our work, our artwork, we did several experiments. I had an experimentation in going to a park nearby my home, where it's always really dirty and has a lot of clutter, and I decided to have a cleaning up, like, and my idea would be like to deal with nature in a respectful way, like as if it was someone, as if I would relate to someone. And Gurkan, he had an experience with his courtyard, what I don't know how to call it. It's a place inside his house where there's plants and there's this natural environment, and have a different approach. That I think that was the main idea, to have a different approach with plants, and in a way that maybe we would have with other people. Like, you don't go inside someone's house without like talking or like being respectful, and that was something that inspired us in the beginning. And then after those experimentations, we started like doing this, I call it a game. It's like as if we were playing tennis. Like I would go give him like something, and then he would give me something back. And I really love this. I find this so interesting. It's a really good way to breaking those patterns that we artists normally have, because we are so used to working alone and having like those tools, like the same tools that we use over and over again. And it's like sometimes I feel like I have like this automatic some automatic responses and solutions, and when we are working with someone, especially that we don't know, especially that's from a different culture, you have no idea what's coming. And you're like, I really like that. And I started doing some paintings. That it's something that I usually do, but in a way that I could like dialogue with him. So I divided my painting in layers, and I digitalized these paintings between the layers, as if I could transform something that is fixed as a painting is, as if I could like give time to it, because Gurkan works with video, with animation. He works with art that is with sound as well, music, and he works with this time reference. And I wanted to kind of bring it into my work. So it was interesting because we went out of our comfort zone in a way that maybe our colleagues here didn't. It was in a different way. And I found it really cool, the result. Right now I don't remember anything else to add to it. Maybe if you want to say something, Gurkan.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Yeah, so the project aim was to actually try to represent how plants communicate each other and with us, like how they talk to each other and how we talk to the plants, or vice versa. So it's like it's a very small project, and maybe I can share the project that we can understand better. I hope so. Share my screen. Where is it? Okay, share YouTube video. Here. Okay, here. So I don't know how you can hear it.
Yeah, we
can you
are
hear
not
this?
hearing. No.
You're not hearing? Okay. I'll tell you something else. Stop sharing. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the point. Maybe I'm going to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try again. All right.
No, we can't hear it.
No.
No, but try again with YouTube. Play the YouTube link.
YouTube link.
That one on Google Drive. Yes.
Okay.
Oh no, we can't hear.
No.
If you put out the headphones.
Maybe this is not.
Try unplugging your headphones.
Okay, I'll try. Thank you. Okay. Let's try again.
Now we can't.
Yeah, I'm just fading out a little with the sound. Okay. Yeah, that's the little. I'm just sharing video. Okay. Can you hear me right now? All right.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that was the actually the first first draft of the project. But the main idea was to try to imitate and reflect the sound, reflect the communication between the sound, and also the communication between the plants and human each other. So yeah, and also we use some data the scientists use, and also I did some field recordings outside in my backyard. So we just merge this kind of sounds with the synthesizers and etc. And Julia, she we also animated her her drawing. So yeah, that's it.
Thank you both. So you kind of already explained a bit what part of the process did you enjoy the most. But yeah, again, like briefly, what specific thing did you enjoy the most, and maybe you would pursue doing in the future, maybe, or in the approach of approaching the creative process can be.
Do you want to answer?
You go, Julia.
Okay. I think I enjoyed everything. I really enjoy. I have experience with doing lighting for theater, and I was always envy with like theater and dance because they have this dialogue, and I was always as a visual artist searching to have this collaboration, and I think that this is something really from our time. Being more open to connections and creating these connections, and not only thinking in art in a individual way, like and I still don't have clear answers about it, but I really enjoy being open to collaboration and dialogue as well. And I enjoyed everything. I enjoyed not knowing what would happen. I enjoyed having this challenge. It really helps me learn about me and what functions for me, and also meet other people. Like I think I find it really cool, and it's interesting because suddenly other partnerships came to my life in an unexpected way as well. And of course, sometimes like we get into this points when we want something and the other person wants something different, and you're like, well, what do we do? But the process of finding ways of creating a pathway is something that interests me. I think that's my answer.
You are on mute. Yeah. No, we can't hear you. No, Gurkan, we can't. At least I can't. No, anyone.
Gurkan, I can't hear you, man.
Oh, really?
No.
Now it's good.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
With my headphones on. So the I think the challenge was very good because I work with artists whose discipline is so different than me, especially drawing and paintings and different kinds of stuff. So it's very hard for me, but it's very challenging, and it's this is the you know, this is the best thing I like. This is very challenging moments, especially, you know, working with on the virtual environment, you know, the connections and communication, etc. We are trying to communicate with the plants, and also we are communicate each other, and also we are communicate with the nature, and also we are communicate with the art. So it was a very good challenge for me to work on, and also, yeah, this is the thing.
That's great.
I didn't
Go ahead.
recognize that. I wasn't like aware that.
And we also collaborated with the plants and the natures. They were so helpful. I'd like to thank you, all of them here. All my plants in my backyard, and you know, all the birds around here. Thank you so much, guys. I like to kiss them.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, okay.
You have to play the video for them.
Yeah. I'm going to hug them, and you know, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you should show them the video. It was so cool because there are so many artworks in this area, and there are artists who has like detected the sound waves of that plants produces, and we were like, imagine you go to your garden and there are many conversations going on, and you're like, it's a completely new way of looking at it. And I like when we transform, when we create, like when we have new points of view, like, and I think everyone here has experienced that in a way, so it's a success.
Yes, it is. And thank you both so much to present also the project. I think all of us can take with us the openness to things that we don't know, or things that might happen and we are not even aware. But that openness bring also a lot of good things. And it's funny how you and João and maybe two others, while you were doing this collaboration, other collaboration also appear, and maybe you were more open to it than maybe before, and that's also very important to bring to our lives. And when Gurkan was also talking about talking with the plants, nature is there all the time in our lives, and maybe we don't see it, or we don't are aware of it as in our sensibility in a way. But it's super important to be present, and be here. And I think we can all learn and have like a good sensation about what we have done, and also about this challenge. It was a challenge, and I think all of you did like a really good project, and it was very good to hear about what you have learned and what you have experienced. And as a creative, I think all of you accomplished everything that it was supposed to do, and even more. So congratulations and thank you so much. I think after 1 hour and a half of presenting, I think we are going to stop here, but people can also interact with you. I'm going to share also your pages also for the audience, get in contact with you to check more, and also even in the future if you want to pursue this collaboration, because this was always like an ongoing project and you decide what you want to do with the project. I think it's also good for people to see it if you want to pursue them or not, and also have this interaction with you now that they know you a bit more, and that's that's very good. Thank you so much for being here. I think it was very good also to know more about each other, and yeah, thank you.